Hey everyone, what's going on? I figured I'd come out here just for a little bit. We haven't seen each other for a while. We had I'm having some trouble. Oh, there we go with that again. Let me just see here. So I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm having some trouble. Yeah, I know. I saw that. The whole screen, I had a improper setting. I was just trying to get things working here. I haven't been done this for a couple of weeks. Now, only the title card. There we go. So I figured I'd come out here and just check in with everybody. I haven't been on this for a while. Getting caught up after the new year. How's everybody doing out there? So one of the things that I've noticed is Facebook's not working. I usually broadcast to Facebook, and for some reason, it's not working today. This is one of the things that always goes on. So I'm going to post it to a few places real quick while I'm talking to you. While I am talking to you. Because that way people can watch us there as well. Now let me see if I do that. Here we go. Now will that show up on my Facebook page? I think it will. And if it does, yeah, there it is. Okay, so I'll share from there. Let me just hang on just 1 second there, and I'll share it to some places that can come see us. Things just don't always work the way you think they're going to. So let's just post it to these places. Give us a little bit of attention here. Be with you back 1 second. That should be fine. That should be fine. Chuck says link on Facebook is no good. There we go. So Chuck Braverman says your link on Facebook is no good. Hi, Richard. Hi, Chuck. The link, yes, you're right. The link on the that I put up originally, I had to cancel it. It's amazing that I get away from this for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden, things are broken. Thanks, Chuck, for searching on YouTube. So here's the thing. Normally I can broadcast directly to Facebook, but for some reason, let me put this up. This has been a big getting back acquainted in 2020 fiasco. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine now, I think. So I'm going to put the link back up over there in a couple places. I think I put it back up. Let me just check and see. I think I did. Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Delete that post. So the first link I put up, it doesn't work. So I deleted that one. Now I'm putting back up a second one. So I figured I'd jump on here. We got some things to talk about. That what's going on with Final Cut Pro in 2020. Has anybody heard anything about Final Cut Pro in 2020? I mean, 2019 was so incredibly quiet. It was absolutely a boring year for Final Cut Pro. There's really like virtually all the big events came and went. There weren't nothing really happened. So I'm hoping 2020 is going to be much, much better. What do you guys think? NAB? That's what I'm thinking. NAB is going to be a big event. However, I haven't heard anything about NAB and Final Cut Pro yet. I've heard that people are not doing events at NAB. So it's a little too early to find out at this point for certain. I mean, absolutely, things can happen at NAB and Final Cut Pro with Final Cut Pro, but right now there's no news to report. So we'll have to see how that goes. So my Mac Pro is doing very well. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Chuck says my picture is stunning looking. Thank you, Chuck. Man Cave says maybe they come out with Final Cut Pro 10. That's what I'm hoping. A lot of us are hoping that they're going to come up with FCPX 10.5. But the fact that they didn't do anything at Final Cut Pro Creative Summit this year, I don't have a lot of faith in these events anymore. You would have thought they would have did something at the FCPX Creative Summit. They did not. There was no update around the Creative Summit like there has been in the past. As a matter of fact, I got these up here. So Final Cut Pro, here we go. 10.2 came out at NAB 2015, right? Then we got 10.3 came out at the Creative Summit 2016. 10.4 came out at the Creative Summit 2017 with a public demo. .4.4 came out at the FCPX Creative Summit 2018. That was a big update. The last feature update we had was over a year ago, 16, 17 months ago. So that came out then. Nothing at NAB 2019, 0. Nothing at the Creative Summit 2019. Nothing at the Creative Summit either. So if people say that, I know people say that the Final Cut Pro can update at any time. I understand that. But the major number updates have all been centered around NAB or the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit for years. So if they're going to be at NAB this year, hopefully it's 10.5. What do you guys think? You think it's going to be 10.5 at NAB? I hope it is. I hope we get some action in 2020. We got it was pretty dull in 2019. So my Mac Pro internals SSD, I'm very impressed with these NVMe SSD. My internal Mac Pro SSD is like 2,700 megabytes a second, 2,800, something like that. It's pretty darn fast. So I'm hoping that they keep on making these NVMe solutions for the Mac Pro. I have 3 PCIe slots left. I think I have the two 8s filled at this point, and then I have the MPX module that takes up one of the double wides, takes up 2 slot spaces. So Man Cave Production says the next thing must be very big. I sure hope so. They've had a lot of time. They've had a lot of time to develop it. So let me just check on something here. All right, let's do this. So over there at FCPRadio, I have a count up timer. Actually, it's a count up timer that tells when the last time Final Cut Pro was updated, major number update. So Final Cut Pro 10.4 was updated 2 years and 1 month ago. So we're already getting into record territory for full number updates. I have this timer over there, FCPRadio.com. And also you can check out, while you're there, check out the latest Final Cut Pro radios. The last one was with Chris Hawking of Command Post. Everybody likes Chris. That was the last one of 2019. I have a new one coming out for 2020. This probably this week. It'll probably be out this week. I think it'll be. So when people do podcasts, it's very easy to start a podcast. What's more difficult is to keep a podcast going. I know I've been keeping one going for 15 years right now at this point. So once I started podcasting, I never stopped. I never stopped with one. I see there's I don't know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of podcasts. The majority of them will be gone. They won't last. They'll try it for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and then they'll say, oh, this isn't worth the time, isn't worth the effort, and it'll just do what they call pod fading. It just fades out. But I've been doing them for 15 years, so I know how hard it is. I know the work that goes into them, and I appreciate those who continue to do work. As a matter of fact, I don't know any other podcaster besides Adam Curry that's been podcasting continuously as long as I have. I don't know of any other. I just don't. There might be some, but I don't know of any other. So we're all thinking that Final Cut Pro 10.5 is going to be very big. The 2019 Mac Pro, this is something else I read this week, Larry Jordan. 2019 Mac Pro uses state-of-the-art Titan Ridge Thunderbolt controllers, both in the system itself and on the MPX module that feature additional Thunderbolt 3 ports. So I didn't know exactly what that was, but I went and found out. So Titan Ridge, apparently it's like the highest quality Thunderbolt 3 you can get at this point. DisplayPort 1.4 capable with 4K video throughput. Daisy chain up to 12 devices, 6 devices per port, etc., etc. That's what the Mac Pro itself has got. So one of the other interesting things when it comes to SSDs, I installed, so this is the speed of my internal Mac Pro. But I installed a single NVMe SSD, and I'm still getting those kinds of speed. I installed it this last week on a PCIe card, and it's still getting 2,800 to 2,900 megabits per second. Now, this one that I installed here it cost me like $270, something like that. That's not bad. Now, here's the thing about NVMe SSDs. I don't use them for long-term storage, okay? I use them for working, and I use them for just short-term. Anything that's on the NVMe, I always back up to another disk. Especially these NVMe cards that go 6,000 megabytes a second or 8,000 or 9,000 megabytes a second. What they're doing, they're putting 4 of those modules on a card and they're RAID zeroing them. Now, RAID 0 has a very, very fast speed. However, if one of those 4 drives dies, you lose data on all the drives. So if you have 4 2-terabyte drives and you lose one of them, you lose all 8 terabytes of information with the RAID 0. So they're very fast, but I don't trust them for long-term storage. There's a couple of them that are out there right now, a couple of different solutions. So we should know in the next couple of weeks what's going on at NAB. We should be hearing something, something official that Apple's going to be presenting there. Not on the main floor. They haven't presented on the main floor for a long time, but they have those separate rooms that they've introduced Final Cut Pro 10.3, 10.2, whatever, or an update to Final Cut Pro over the last couple of years. Nothing last year, zero last year. Last year was no Final Cut Pro, any kind of a major feature update. They did have the 10.4.7 that brought out Metal 2. Yes, I understand that's a very detailed update. A lot of work went into that, but it's not very flashy. There wasn't many features involved, just a speed increase. Of course, they did that for the Mac Pro. That's one of the things they did for the Mac Pro. So Man Cave says maybe Final Cut Pro 11. That could happen at any time. We don't know what Apple's been up to. I know they've had a long time, though, that's for sure. So last week I was out of commission. I was under the weather. I had some kind of, I don't know what the heck I had. Lack of energy malaise is what I had. I didn't feel like doing anything. I just took it very, very easy. Here's something interesting. That came out this week. I wonder if this is going to really happen. Mac OS Catalina beta suggests upcoming Pro mode. Some snooping around in the new Mac OS Catalina 10.15.3 beta build has unearthed references to Pro mode, which could be used to temporarily boost the performance of Mac OS systems such as the MacBook Pro and, I'm sure, the Mac Pro. The new mode can be toggled on and off by users and suggest that it may be designed to boost performance of MacBooks and, I'm sure, Mac Pros. When toggled on, some strings state apps may run faster, but battery life may decrease and fan noise may increase. Additionally, toggling on Pro mode activates a string that reads fan speed limit overridden. So that would be very interesting if they indeed did that. Had a Pro mode for the Mac OS. Now, I've always wanted a Pro mode for Final Cut Pro itself. I wanted to get into some of the underpinnings that pros need to access sometimes, like Logic Pro has that. So Man Cave Lutz says, I would love to find a solution to store my footage in the cloud, cost-effective and secure, but not breaking my bank. I use, what the heck do I use? I use something. It's not that expensive. Backblaze. I guess that's what I use is Backblaze. I store stuff in Backblaze. But I have, 24, 30 terabytes of nearline or online footage that I have. So it's a lot of stuff to back up. What I'm looking for is a new RAID system. I have two drive RAID 5s, one G-Tech and one Promise, and I want to get an 8-drive Thunderbolt 3 solution. I know where they are. I know the places they are, but I'm just trying to see if anything changes with the Mac Pro, if any kind of a change. I mean, listen, there's a lot of PCIe slots they have to fill up, right? Yes, there are. Take my word for it. So what else? What else do we have? Oh, I know one other thing. So iStats menu that I use has not been updated for the Mac Pro. We're supposed to have all these features on the left, and all I'm seeing are this this scanty little things on the right. Now, I contacted them. They responded, and they said they haven't updated for the Mac Pro yet because I should see 16 CPUs over there that I can monitor, but they're not there yet. So I'll look forward to when that comes out. Don't forget, we have a master list of Mac Pro articles if you want to see them. They are over at, let me pull this up. Where is that list? Here we go. Over there at FCPX TV.tv, we have all these Mac Pro articles. $60 plus, I think at this point, all the information you need. There's no one source for Final Cut Pro information on the web. There's many, many sources. Same with the Mac Pro. There's no one source that you go to for Mac Pro. I follow a couple people on YouTube that I go to, but just like with Final Cut Pro, there's not one single source that I go to. I go to many, many different places. I have some of my favorites, of course, but in this case, there's over 60 different articles. This one here with iJustine is pretty interesting. She did a quite extensive testing with the Mac Pro. She was running all kinds of stuff going at the same time, and it didn't even slow it down. Now she's got a high-end one, I think a 28 core. But, you know, she kept running, and look at all the stuff she's doing. These are all 8K multicams or whatever the heck they are, 4K, all running at the same time. You can't do that with the MacBook Pro, that's for sure. I've been very pleased with my Mac Pro. I have a MacBook Pros too. So Lutz says Backblaze isn't keeping deleted files and has no versioning as far as I know. So if something gets deleted by accident or by virus, it will be gone in the backup as well. Is that correct? Could be. I have no idea. I don't really depend on cloud backup for my main backups. I have multiple backups physically. I just use it as a convenience in case something goes wrong. But it's not that expensive. But once again, the more features you want, the more you're going to pay. So if you want less expensive, you get less features. You want more expensive, you get more features. I mean, you know, that's just the way it is, of course. I have no idea what's going on with Final Cut Pro 10.5. Nobody does, I guess. But I want to fill up my PCIe slots on my Mac Pro. I think I got 3 16s left. Or maybe 1 8 and 2 16s. I'm only kidding, of course. The fact that they're empty is fine. The Mac Pro's right over here to my side. You can't hear it. I got the microphone on. You cannot hear it. It's completely silent. Something weird, though, happened last week was I could hear the fans at one point. I could definitely hear them. And I looked at the temperatures. The temperatures were not up. Right now, my temperatures are 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me just check here. Yeah, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. But they're really not doing that much. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. So here's these are my cores presently right now. a couple of, I guess they're doing some work, a little bit more than usual. The memory and the processor on the Radeon Pro Vega 2 that I have is not working hardly at all. The temperature is 117. I don't think I have anything else running. I don't think, anyway. But anyway, so the temperature last week was not up, but the fans were, I could hear them, which was very unusual. And the only thing that I noticed was my core speed had risen to 4 point something. The speed of the CPU itself. What is mine's 3 something. Let me see what it says. Yeah, mine's 3.2 gigahertz. I got a 16 core, but for some reason it was boosted up to 4 point something gigahertz. But I didn't see any activity. And at that point, the fans were definitely going a bit louder. I can actually hear them now a little bit over there. I'm not sure what's taking up all the room. Let me check activity monitor real quick. I don't think, oh, well, that's interesting. I don't even need that. Something running that's got a whole bunch of CPU cycles. There, let's see if that takes them back down. Huh, that's interesting. Why does that keep coming back? I have a app that I don't want to run. Keeps popping up here. I don't want that to run, that's for sure. But anyway, I just figured I'd stop on here and just touch base with everybody. I have another Final Cut Pro Radio Live coming up this Friday. I'll put the notice out maybe on Thursday of when and where that's going to be. Hopefully the Facebook link issue will be fixed by then. Because right now, oh, here's something else we wanted to talk about before we go. Brand new Samsung SSD, the T7. So they had the T3 to T5. I didn't buy the T5. I did buy the T3 originally in 2016 to go along with my MacBook Pro that I bought. This new Samsung looks pretty darn good. The T7, because it's now 1,000 megabytes a second, up from like 400, 500 megabytes a second. Megabytes, whatever it was. It's based on a USB 3.2 Gen 2 standard, so that's why it's faster. I might be getting one, but I'm not sure. I don't really edit with my MacBook Pro, so I'm not sure if I'll be getting one or not. But that's a good speed, 1,000 megabytes a second. Came out at CES, Samsung. T7. For all you people who edit with your MacBook Pro. What guests do you plan on to have on your program in 2020? Well, I'll have on some of the same people I've had on in 2019 and 2018. I'll have some new people on as well. So this week, this coming Friday, I have somebody on that's just did a film in Final Cut Pro 10, and we'll be talking all about his workflow for that. And anything else that pops up between now and then. Now, look, we're waiting on Final Cut Pro 10.5, but we're thinking NAB, right? But it really could happen at any time. I don't know why this thing keeps popping up. Keeps popping up. I don't want it up. It's using way too much CPU cycles. Keeps popping up. I'm not even using the darn thing. There it is again. But anyway, I figured I'd just pop on here for a little bit. If you don't have anything else to say, I'm going to head out and get back to doing some work. I have some work to do today. I enjoy it on my new Mac Pro, of course. Let me just check something here. Camera. Oh, well, that's why. There we go. That's why. I just, getting back into the swing of things, I tell you, I don't know what's going on here. I'm getting back, figuring out things that I forgot, I guess, in the last 2 weeks. Plus, I wasn't feeling good last week, so maybe that has something to do with it. All kinds of things were going wrong this morning. Anyway, it's a good practice one for me then, right? So I've even been drinking tea. For some reason, when I don't feel good, this is Irish breakfast tea. For some reason, when I don't feel good and I have a malaise, I'll lose my taste for coffee, which is absolutely astounding considering how much I like it. All right. Well, I'm going to get back to work myself. Thanks, everybody, for stopping in. I am going to... I'm glad I did this today because that's the way it won't be messed up for Friday. Stuff won't be messed up. I don't know why. Let me just check one more thing while I'm here. I'm going to see what's going on with... It's just amazing that things work one day and then things don't work one day. So this is supposed to be going to Facebook. Of course, it's not. That's why I put the YouTube link up everywhere. And it's still not going. It's just amazing how many times you got to quit something and then process something and then quit something and then process something. But that's just the way it is, I guess. All right, everyone, I'm going to head out of here for today. This is Final Cut Pro Radio TV Live. I'm not even sure if... My name is Richard Taylor, if you didn't catch that. I'm not even sure if I'm going to NAB this year. So it depends on two things. Number one, I need a sponsorship. I've had a sponsorship for the last 3 years. So if I get a sponsorship or get people to sponsor, that'll be one of the things. The other thing is if there's no Final Cut Pro events, I'm less likely to go. So if we don't hear Final Cut Pro events announced by the end of February, I don't really care about NAB that much unless it's some Final Cut Pro stuff going on. I mean, we're going to have a Faster Together event of any sort? Maybe not. Maybe not. That was sponsored by LumaForge. I don't know what they're planning on this year. They're probably still planning on getting the plans together themselves. The Super Meet. The other big event last year was the Faster Together stage. Super Meet's happening on Tuesday. They announced that back in September. Dan Perubi and Future Media Concepts is putting that on the same Tuesday night as it always was traditionally. But that's not a Final Cut Pro event. Of course, that is a fun event to go to for sure. But if there's no Final Cut Pro presentation there, it's not as interesting to me. I mean, I can watch the stuff online. I can watch everything online. Now, Blackmagic is cool. I do like they have a gigantic booth. As a matter of fact, from what I understand, the Blackmagic booth is Apple's old booth. So the question Is there any information about new versions of Final Cut Pro about adding the native features Command Post offers at the moment? No, one of the things that I like Final Cut Pro to do is to have native features. I don't want a skeletal version of Final Cut Pro and you have to add 100 different things to make it full featured. That's not what I want. So I want a good, modern, fast NLE. It's missing things that it needs to have for sure. So hopefully, since they've taken 2 years and 1 month at this point since 10.4 was introduced, hopefully they're working on a major update for 10.5. Hopefully. But after the disappointment of the FCPX Creative Summit, and no disappointing from the Final Cut Pro stand, not from the actual event, was very, very cool. It was very, very good to meet people and see our friends and hang out and everything. But no Final Cut Pro news was very disappointing. It was very disappointing. None at NAB and none at the Creative Summit last year. So hopefully this year's going to make up for it. That's what I'm hoping. Hard to tell. I don't know of anything as far as features in Final Cut Pro 10.5. I just don't know. That was my Irish breakfast tea. Extra caffeine, please. So I'm going to head out of here for today. This was a good test run for 2020. I'm going to knock some of that nonsense out at the beginning when things were, I had the wrong switches on or something. I don't know what the heck's going on. But anyway, I'll be back later this week, Friday, probably about the same time, 11 o'clock. And I'm bringing on somebody who edited his latest film in Final Cut Pro 10. And I'll make an announcement Thursday, maybe Friday morning, on the time and the place. Anyway, everybody, and I'll see if I can get this. I think I can get this Facebook problem fixed. I might do a test between now and then to just check and make sure that the Facebook link is working. I probably have to delete it and add it back. I don't know. It still says sending data. It's not sending data. Other ones say Periscope says online. YouTube says online. All right, everyone. I'm going to head out of here and get some work done today. I sure hope you had a good 2019 and good holidays and all that. And we're looking forward to Final Cut Pro 10.5 in 2020. I'm sure it's coming. Everybody's sure. I'll talk to y'all later.